7 days. That's all it took for these 5 simple habits to completely transform how I see the world, handle stress, and find peace in chaos. I'm not talking about some motivational nonsense or quick fixes. I'm talking about life-changing Stoic habits that emperors and philosophers have used for over 2,000 years. Marcus Aurelius wrote his most powerful insights while leading an empire and fighting wars. Epictetus developed his philosophy while living as a slave. These weren't men sitting in ivory towers. They were people facing real challenges, just like you and me. But here's what shocked me the most. Within just 1 week of applying these principles, I noticed dramatic changes in my confidence, my relationships, and my ability to handle whatever life threw at me. If you've been struggling with anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, or just want to build unshakable inner strength, stay with me. What I am about to share will challenge everything you think you know about personal transformation. Before we dive into these habits, let me be clear about something. I've tried countless self-improvement strategies over the years. Most of them gave me temporary motivation, but no lasting change. The difference with Stoic philosophy practices is that they're not based on feeling good. They're based on building character and resilience that lasts. These 5 habits aren't just theoretical concepts. They're practical tools that you can start using today, and I'm going to show you exactly how I implemented them and the specific changes I noticed within that first week. Every morning before checking my phone or jumping into the day, I spend exactly 5 minutes asking myself 3 questions that Marcus Aurelius used in his personal journal. What challenges might I face today? And how can I respond with virtue? What am I grateful for right now? How can I be useful to others today? This isn't positive thinking or manifestation, it's mental preparation. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. Not to be pessimistic, but to be prepared. On day 1, I'll be honest, it felt awkward. I'm not used to sitting quietly with my thoughts. But by day 3, something shifted. Instead of reacting emotionally to unexpected problems, I found myself thinking, I prepared for this. The most dramatic change happened on day 5. My car broke down on the way to an important meeting. Normally, this would have sent me into a panic spiral. Instead, I caught myself thinking, this is exactly the kind of challenge I reflected on this morning. How can I handle this with virtue? I called an Uber, arrived only slightly late, and actually felt proud of how I handled the situation. When you prepare your mind for challenges, you're not just thinking positively. You're literally rewiring your brain's response to stress. Neuroscience shows that mental rehearsal activates the same neural pathways as actual experience, making you more prepared when challenges actually arise. Throughout the day, whenever I felt stressed or frustrated, I asked myself one simple question. Is this within my control or outside my control? If it was outside my control, I had a choice. Waste energy on it or redirect that energy towards something I could actually influence. Epictetus taught that we suffer not from events themselves, but from our judgments about events. This habit is about catching those judgments before they spiral into unnecessary suffering. This was probably the most immediately noticeable change. On day 2, I was stuck in traffic and felt my usual road rage building. Then I remembered, the traffic is outside my control, but my response is entirely within my control. Instead of honking and cursing, I used the time to practice deep breathing and listen to an audiobook. By day 4, I was applying this to bigger issues. A project at work was delayed due to factors completely outside my influence. Instead of stressing about the delay, I focused on what I could control, improving my part of the project and communicating clearly with my team about the new timeline. The most powerful moment came on day 6. A friend canceled plans at the last minute, which usually would have ruined my mood for hours. Instead, I thought, Their decision is outside my control. How I spend this unexpected free time is completely within my control. I ended up having one of the most relaxing evenings I'd had in months. This habit doesn't just reduce stress, it increases your sense of personal power. When you stop wasting energy on things you can't control, you have more energy for the things you can influence. It's like upgrading your mental operating system. Every night before bed, I spend 10 minutes reviewing my day using Seneca's method. I ask myself, what did I do well today? Where did I fall short of my values? What can I learn from today's experiences? How can I improve tomorrow? This isn't about beating yourself up over mistakes. The Stoics viewed errors as tuition for life's education. The goal is honest self-assessment and continuous improvement. The first few nights were uncomfortable because I had to confront some honest truths about my behavior. I realized how often I reacted impulsively instead of responding thoughtfully. But this awareness was the first step toward change. By day 4, I noticed I was making better decisions during the day because I knew I'd be reviewing them later. It's like having a wise mentor looking over your shoulder, encouraging you to act with integrity. The breakthrough came on day 7. I had a difficult conversation with a family member that could have escalated into an argument. But because I'd been practicing this evening review, I was more aware of my emotional triggers and managed to respond with patience instead of defensiveness. The conversation ended with understanding rather than hurt feelings. Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." This habit turns that wisdom into daily practice. You're not just living your life, you're consciously crafting your character. Whenever I encountered a problem or setback, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" I started asking, "How is this making me stronger?" Or, "What opportunity is hidden in this challenge?" Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This habit is about reframing obstacles as training for your character. This was the hardest habit to master because it goes against our natural tendency to avoid difficulty. On day 3, I received criticism on a project I'd worked hard on. My first instinct was to get defensive, but then I caught myself and thought, this criticism is an opportunity to improve my work and practice, handling feedback gracefully. The real test came on day 5 when I faced rejection for something I really wanted. Instead of wallowing in disappointment, I asked myself, how is this rejection redirecting me towards something better? I used the emotional energy from the disappointment to fuel a new approach that ended up being more successful than my original plan. By the end of the week, I found myself almost looking forward to challenges because I knew they were opportunities to practice these Stoic mindset techniques. Problems transformed from sources of stress into training exercises for resilience. This habit doesn't just change how you handle problems, it changes your entire relationship with difficulty. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become a student of life. When feeling overwhelmed or taking myself too seriously, I practice what Marcus Aurelius called the view from above. I imagine viewing my current situation from a cosmic perspective. How will this matter in a year? In 10 years? In the grand scheme of human history? This isn't about minimizing your problems, but about putting them in proper perspective so you can respond with wisdom rather than emotion. On day 2, I was stressed about a presentation at work. When I practiced the view from above, I realized that in 5 years, no one would remember this presentation, but they might remember how I handled the pressure. This shift allowed me to focus on doing my best rather than worrying about the outcome. The most powerful application came on day 6 when I had a conflict with a colleague. From the cosmic perspective, I could see that this disagreement was tiny compared to what really mattered: maintaining good relationships and focusing on shared goals. This perspective helped me approach the conflict with humility and find a solution that worked for everyone. This habit is incredibly liberating because it frees you from the prison of taking everything personally. You start to see life as a grand adventure rather than a series of personal attacks. By the end of week 1, these 5 habits had created a compound effect. I wasn't just practicing individual techniques. I had developed a new way of thinking and responding to life. My stress levels dropped dramatically, my relationships improved, and I felt a sense of inner strength I'd never experienced before. The most surprising result was how much more present I became. When you're not wasting mental energy on things you can't control or dwelling on problems from an ego-driven perspective, you have so much more capacity for actually living. Start with just one habit for the first few days, then gradually add the others. The morning reflection sets the tone for your day, so I recommend starting there. Remember, the Stoics weren't trying to eliminate emotions. They were trying to respond to emotions with wisdom rather than impulse. Don't expect perfection. Even Marcus Aurelius struggled with these principles, which is why he had to keep reminding himself about them in his journal. The goal is progress, not perfection. These 5 habits: morning reflection, the dichotomy of control, evening review, seeing obstacles as opportunities, and the view from above, aren't just strategies for feeling better. They're tools for building the kind of character that can handle whatever life brings with grace and strength. The Stoic philosophers understood something that modern self-help often misses. True confidence and peace don't come from external circumstances. They come from knowing you can handle whatever circumstances arise. If this video resonated with you and you want to continue building your Stoic practice, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the Stoic Mind Fortress. We're building a community of people committed to living with wisdom, courage, and virtue in an increasingly chaotic world. Your support helps us continue sharing these life-changing principles.